Welcome everyone, and thanks for joining us today. This is the fourth webinar in the series of Digital Industrial Transformation Playbook webinars. My name is Steve Rokov and I work in the Predix product marketing team. What we're going to cover today are two areas: our platform for transformation, Predix, and the ecosystem of partners that surround us. And so with that goal in mind, we've invited two of our GE Digital partner leads to speak today, Marcus Kennedy from Intel and Ali Sharkey from EY. And they're each going to cover how their organizations have benefited from the relationship with GE Digital at an alliance level as well as a technology platform level. So we're going to take a little bit of time to cover the formal presentation, and then we'll pose a few questions from you, our audience, to our presenters. And so please go ahead and use the QA box to submit your questions. So with that, let's get started. And first, I wanted to just quickly recap our strategy and our journey, our own transformation journey at GE, to just provide a better context as to why we had to transform, and more importantly, why do we think other industrials need to transform. And so in our business, we have the privilege of working with a lot of customers across all industrial markets worldwide. And while each company faces its own disruptive forces, we're seeing a confluence of low-cost technology, changing customer behaviors and workforce trends that are just creating this inflection point across the industrial world. And that demands your attention simply because your competition may already be taking advantage of these trends with your customers. So transformation in any company is complex, and GE is no different. We have over 300,000 employees selling into 180 countries worldwide. And so that requires change at scale, not just with people, but across organization, process, and technology. So if you look at the top row, then GE for GE was what we call our first play, meaning you have to build out new internal capabilities and then operationalize them to help drive internal productivity and cost improvements. And then next, armed with these learning and outcomes, we bring a set of prepackaged industrial applications such as brilliant manufacturing and asset performance management that help our customers transform too and take advantage of the same productivity that we gained, and we call that GE for customers. And then finally, we make our Predix platform available to everyone for co-creation and innovation anywhere, and we call this GE for the world. And what's key about using a platform approach is that now it's not a matter of only waiting for GE to build applications, but now everyone else can do the same thing. So how do we approach this? Well, we broke the challenge down into 5 key focus areas, what we call pillars, and that's the second row that you see there. So the first pillar there is based on capability set, and we actually created a new business unit, which is where I reside, as that organizational mechanism to just drive change and provide that operating model. Our second and third pillars are the ones that we're covering today, and that second pillar is focused on building and leveraging Predix, our platform, to enable GE and you to start at the innovation layer today rather than reinventing the industrial IoT wheel by using a different approach. And then next, we realized we just couldn't do this on our own, so we created that open innovation partner ecosystem that our customers can leverage across all industrial markets. And we'll be hearing from both Intel and EY on that shortly. And then the fourth pillar, and this one can't be underestimated, it's hugely important because you've got to develop the necessary processes for rapid decision making and an environment where small experimental failures were okay. And then last but not means least, we created a series of workshops and services for our fifth pillar so that we could use that throughout GE businesses as well as our partners. So let's take a closer look at one of the pillars we're discussing today, and that's number 2, the platform. And so we needed to have a very different set of capabilities where data and software and analytics were at the center of our world. Now, early on, what we found is that trying to roll our own was just a very devilishly hard task. So why was that? Well, no surprise, developing industrial IoT apps is a pretty complex business, and domain expertise is critical because we're dealing with assets and infrastructure where reliability and security and performance and scale are just simply dramatically different to any consumer or general enterprise environment. And so to illustrate that point, here's a fraction of the task and resources of what it might take to take an idea on the left and then to build and deploy an industrial application to service that on the right. And so you see that's a lot to contend with. And so you have to ask yourself, do you really have the time to do this? And would those resources be better spent elsewhere? And then after answering that, then are those even core competencies the ones that you really want or need to invest in? And then if you do, what does that do to your time to market? If you have 5 years and tens of millions of dollars to build your own solution, then that may make sense. But for the majority of us, we need something more quickly. And then, so what's the cost in terms of market impact or competitiveness or customer satisfaction by delaying a few years? Will your competition be standing still in that time? And can you really differentiate your offering? So these traditional approaches to software development and operation end up being way too slow and too expensive, and one might argue also too risky. So in fact, to back that point up, we did a couple of surveys that were released last year. The first of which you see there was to over, I think, 1,000 software developers. And what we found on average was that they spent only 25% of their time writing code, with the rest being spent on those tasks we just discussed. The second survey was conducted by TBR last year, and it was with decision makers worldwide who had adopted an IoT platform, and they were all industrial companies. And what we found was there was just this huge capability gap that customers face when they adopted a DOI or general purpose platform. In fact, only 45% of the customers were getting all the functionality they required from their platform vendor, and as you can see there on the left, with major gaps found in the data management and analytics areas. And the net result and outcome of that is it basically results in more spending beyond the core platform, and in some cases over $2 in extra spend for each dollar spent on the platform license. And that's where Predix came in. So when we set out to transform our own businesses, we realized that general purpose just wasn't going to address our needs. So we developed Predix to specifically address our demands, and then packaged up our capabilities that we developed and best practices so others could embrace transformation with confidence and enter in at that innovation layer. And so that's kind of similar to the same way that Apple uses cloud and app stores and third-party developers to deliver mobile apps to consumers, in the same way Predix and its ecosystem does the same, but for industrial companies. And then the demands of industry are incredibly complex ones, and revolve around critical assets and operations and data and security, but done at scale. And Predix addresses that by using things such as digital twins, which are these digital representations of physical assets, predictive analytics, a distributed edge to cloud architecture, so you can place intelligence where you need it, all with industrial-grade security and compliance built in. And then by taking a software platform approach, it just provides this consistent set of services that developers and systems integrators and hardware and software vendors can all build on. And then by taking advantage of that, it could also deliver other benefits such as faster innovation with reduced project risks. In fact, Predix is more than just a convenient platform. It's also a destination with an online catalog. And that catalog, which you can see at predix.io, provides microservices that developers use to build their applications. And then many of these services are of course, delivered by GE, but the Predix architecture and catalog also enables third parties to deliver and monetize those services. So the result of that is that customers benefit from that open innovation so that you can get on with writing innovative apps, remember, starting at the innovation layer. But let GE and its ecosystem of partners actually invest in new capabilities so you don't have to. So with partners in mind, we had to greatly simplify our ability to engage and collaborate with the ecosystem, as that's just critically important. So we had to change the way we worked. And on the left, you see that, we had a very traditional reseller and distribution channel, but with GE Digital, we just had to take a step back and just rethink, what's our approach to our ecosystem? How can we set up this winning environment? And so the result on the right is that co-innovation model that includes resellers and distributors, but also includes leading technology partners and just thousands of developers and ISVs. We've also made that program much easier for people to partner with us. In the past, it was quite a fusing array of deliverables through the organization, but today there's a single program that serves all partner categories across all regions and verticals. And that single program actually now serves over 700 partners, from the largest companies in the world like EY and Intel right down to the innovators in that garage. So the tiering system you see here, and know that these logos and names are just a subset of partners, means that they have a clear path to becoming aligned with us and our customers. So we think this ecosystem approach helps us to bring new capabilities that are way more scalable and reliable and more feature-rich than others can provide. And the way that we ensure we have that expertise out in the field is by training and assessing that field. And so the Predix Developer Certification exam was launched late last year, and we already have over 1,000 certified experts developing new innovations across many markets. So with that, what I'd like to do now is move to our first partner that you'll hear from today, and that's Marcus from Intel. Marcus, it's all yours.
Thank you. So my name is Marcus Kennedy. I'm the Director of Commercialization and Strategic Engagements for the Internet of Things group at Intel Corporation. When we were considering partnering with GE on these solutions, we really focused on three key factors for the partnership. The first was our desire to partner to drive the industry. Like GE, Intel believes in an open innovation partner ecosystem that spans industrial markets and industrial outcomes. Intel started as an ingredient company, so we have really always believed that the path to success is paved through partnerships and developing and enabling our ecosystem. The second factor was the dedication to transformation through innovation. As you heard through much of what was just discussed, GE definitely believes in innovation, and Intel sees ourselves as the creators of tomorrow, moving the world through innovation. And so you can see how, for us, that was a key factor in the partnership. And then finally, we do believe that partnering with companies that believe in the same corporate values as us is just as important as partnering with people whose products and services we can help enable. Specifically, treating people the right way and our belief that you can pursue business opportunities that are both valuable to shareholders as well as have a net positive impact to the environment and the communities around us is extremely important. GE's Ecomagination effort shows that they believe in this, and our history of being the largest purchaser of green power and our constant reduction in carbon footprint and various examples of continued reduction of emissions and waste show that Intel does too. So through this partnership based on those three factors, we're helping to enable industrial factories to optimize operations based on leading edge technology. So based on the Intel IoT platform reference architecture, GE is integrating Intel processors, Intel and third-party software, and Predix software to enable better business outcomes such as reduced downtime and operational efficiencies in virtually any asset in the industrial space. For us, success in this space looks like when you have data that is truly driving actionable insights. GE is doing that today through Predix, both in their own facilities across GE as well as with customers, and we're doing the same here at Intel, both in our factories and with customers around the world. So extracting the greatest value from the data generated by all these connecting things, when and where it's needed most, is central to the Intel and GE strategy, because we believe that this is really where the world is going. For us to move the world forward, we had a really deep collaborative effort from top to bottom. We really deeply aligned our engineering and marketing together, all the way through doing things like co-developing and co-selling, spending lots of hours in rooms, drawing on boards, and in facilities and manufacturing floors, really testing what works across our various platforms that I just talked about. And what we've come up with are a variety of platforms and products that we can use to help serve and enable the ecosystem, as well as deliver directly to customers such as ourselves in our world-class facilities.
Thanks, Marcus. Okay, so on to our next speaker, and that's Ali from EY. Over to you, Ali.
Thanks, Steve, and hello, everyone. My name is Ali Shaki, Senior Manager with EY Advisory Services. As part of digital supply chain and operations at EY, I work on helping our manufacturing clients on leveraging systems and technology to drive performance excellence in manufacturing. We typically do this through consulting engagements and system integration projects for our clients. I'm excited to be here today to tell you about our manufacturing energy management solution powered by Predix from GE Digital. So to get started, I'd like to share a few words about EY and our purpose. EY is a global leader in assurance, tax, transaction, and advisory services. We are a team of more than 231,000 professionals across more than 700 offices in 150 countries. Our global network provides clients with highly responsive advice and industry-focused knowledge and experience that meets their assurance, tax, transaction, and advisory needs. In so doing, we play a critical role in building a better working world for our people, for our clients, and for our communities. At EY, we see the power of co-innovation for clients firsthand in the strategic alliance that we have developed with GE Digital. EY is helping to transform GE Digital's technological expertise into a business case that is clear to senior executives. Specifically, EY and GE Digital develop and provide sector-focused industrial IoT offerings. We combine EY's deep sector knowledge and IoT, data analytics, and cybersecurity capabilities with the GE Predix platform to help companies significantly improve their top and bottom lines. One output of our alliance is EY's manufacturing energy management solution, which we call MEMS for short. MEMS allows companies to get a detailed view of their energy and water consumption across the enterprise and within each manufacturing site. The solution is based on GE's Predix and includes powerful analytics that give companies insight into how they can adjust their energy usage and reduce waste. MEMS is a powerful example of this co-innovation that's alive and working today. So over the next 15 minutes or so, I will walk you through a high-level overview of the MEMS value proposition. Our innovation with MEMS, its migration and further development on the GE Predix platform is triggered by strong business need in the marketplace, coupled with hands-on understanding of the problem space while working closely with our manufacturing clients on real-life problems around management of plant utilities on shop floors. So just a quick note as we getting started here. In the context of MEMS, we typically use the words energy, water, and utilities interchangeably, mainly for brevity. But please note that most of the concepts discussed are really utility agnostic. Most of them apply more or less equally to all plant utilities. So why do manufacturers care? And can energy management truly be a competitive advantage in manufacturing? We believe that the answer is yes. In today's marketplace, manufacturers are faced with a multitude of energy and water-related pressures demanding improved performance, starting from cost-cutting measures to energy demands that are on the rise with great fluctuation in unpredictable ways, making it difficult to manage. Also, daily news and headlines on energy, sustainability, and green image increase the importance of corporate social responsibility and influence critical product marketing elements such as brand recognition, consumer perception, and customer loyalty. On top of all that, there are evolving emission regulations and emerging carbon trade protocols at different levels of maturity around the globe. So under such pressures, many manufacturers have realized that business financial performance and profits can be impacted by their performance or energy and water. In fact, in many cases, energy and water represent significant opportunities to influence most of the business drivers just mentioned on the slide. The type and degree of response from manufacturers to these market dynamics and the ability to drive business value differ considerably depending on a number of factors, including energy intensity, the organization's own maturity with energy management processes. However, most commonly, manufacturers wonder about how to identify and eliminate energy waste, how to maximize energy efficiency, how to optimize energy supply. The fact of the matter is that utilities, for the most part, are treated as a standard cost with granularity only limited to a monthly bill at the site level. Realistically, higher granularity is needed to drive performance and continuous improvement cycles. In fact, the more progressive manufacturers nowadays are sometimes wondering, how can energy be managed as a controllable production cost? We often hear the questions, why are energy requirements not on my bill of material? Meaning, so many kilowatt hours of electricity and so much pounds of steam, how much of those do I need to make a batch of product of that particular type? Typically, this information is not really known on the shop floor. And truly, this is a paradigm shift in the management of plant utilities and shop floor operations, specifically from a production accounting perspective. So how to empower people and offer actionable information to turn the continuous improvement wheel around energy and plant utilities? Manufacturing operations people, as we all know, do this type of stuff day in, day out, solving production problems to drive metrics such as machine downtime, production throughput, and material waste, but not necessarily energy. Why not implement and apply the same lean methods that they are familiar with to reduce waste in energy and around plant utilities? So this is where MEMS comes in as part of the alliance. Leveraging IIoT technology powered by GE Predix. Within MEMS, we apply best practices in energy management, including the concept of energy cost centers, with specific energy performance metrics and KPIs applied to each one of those centers. For example, the screen we are looking at shows a MEMS dashboard for a corporate enterprise level user. From here, the user is able to view the performance of the different sites within the organization and then able to drill down all the way into any of those specific sites as they wish to get more detailed information. Plant users can further drill down into specific areas within each site, within specific cells within each area, and within specific assets and equipment within each one of the cells. MEMS is a packaged solution developed specifically for manufacturing with industry best practices for plant utility management in mind. It is inherently configurable and scalable based on Predix platform. It lives in the cloud with a small footprint component on the shop floor for fetching detailed site data at the production, equipment, and utility meter level. MEMS is intended to leverage shop floor data and cloud-based analytics to turn the data into actionable information, providing capabilities to support decision-making and enable the business improve plant utility performance. The physical scope of MEMS covers the tracking of all plant utilities in all plant areas. It is not just limited to power or gas or steam. It is all utilities: water, air, gas, electricity, steam, and maybe even other utilities recognized by the site as special utilities but fall under utilities management, such as nitrogen, hydrogen, ammonia, carbon dioxide, etc. MEMS as a system is utility agnostic, but smart enough to handle the different forms and sources of energy without double counting. This applies to and includes conversion of energy from one form to the other, generation of energy, and distribution around the facility. And throughout that, the ability to identify and spot utility distribution losses, inefficiencies around generation, etc. The functionality expected from MEMS starts at the data collection and storage of the data, but goes on to cover the historical tracking, capturing of production context, target management, presentation analytics, and visualization of the data. Okay, so MEMS is intended for use by plant operations at multiple levels, from shop floor operators and supervisors to plant management and corporate people, across many functions that touch and impact utility usage. For example, plant controllers that do the budgeting for the production costs, production schedulers that produce production schedules that may be optimized for reducing utility spend, energy procurement negotiations for new PPAs, maintenance and engineering, process engineering teams. Focus with MEMS is on the following objectives: managing the use of reduced consumption levels, managing the supply so we pay less for the next unit of energy consumed, and complying with emission regulations and reducing carbon footprint. Achieving those objectives typically challenging if the user community doesn't have the detailed information in near real time to detect and correct exceptions. With MEMS, people can develop better understanding of the allocation of the energy usage to the specific production processes, areas, cells, and specific equipment. The factors impacting consumption are typically not visible, but with MEMS, users are able to again develop insight and knowledge into the causal relationships between production activities, which they are performing day in, day out on the shop floor, and the utility spend for the respective areas. Operators normally cannot see energy when wasted, but with MEMS is able to identify those down times where energy is still being consumed and inefficiencies related to the energy, which we call energy waste inside MEMS, and report on those and flag them and alert the users. Overall, high-level plant consumption view by itself is not good enough to drive improvement. MEMS helps operations know how the energy was used to determine if the use is truly justified. So we mentioned briefly about production context and the importance of that to convert shop floor data into information. Frankly, one can look at plant utility data all day long, but it is almost meaningless without production context. which truly allows the user to correlate production activities and events occurring on the shop floor to the variability of energy consumption. MEMS allows the user, for example, to be able to identify and recognize repeated usage profiles, startup patterns of specific energy hogs equipment, overload situations, etc., and help them answer questions such as, can I optimize my production schedule to minimize utility spend? Is my line responsible for exceeding the peak demand threshold in the facility and hence resulting in excessive payments to the utility provider? By how much our product line changeovers are costing us in utilities spending, etc. So what is the business case and the ROI typically? And the answer is that it will typically vary depending on a number of factors. Some of these factors are the type of industry, the level of energy intensity within that industry for that specific client. What's the percentage of that spending related to the overall operating cost? Another big factor is the state of maturity of where the client's organization is at regarding utilities and energy management. This is typically reflected in the ways they carry out their business processes to manage energy and the tools and the systems and the technology they use. We typically see anywhere from 5 to 10% of improvements within the first year of MEMS implementation, given that the resources are mobilized and the business made the commitment with focus on the initiative. Now, if you take, to put that in perspective, in the slide that's shown on the screen, if you take a facility with around $10 million of utility spend every year and assume a 10% savings for the first year, maintaining that over the balance of a 5 years program, on top of that, an additional 5%, which is again typical for the balance of a 5 years program, on top of that, this would quickly add up to about $10 million worth of savings over the balance of 5 years. The MEMS application, its features and capabilities have been progressed and advanced based on shop floor implementations in different sectors of the manufacturing. Some of the sectors that we've implemented this in include food, beverage, consumer packaged goods, mill products, pulp and tissue making specifically, and in automotive. Throughout these implementations, even some of our clients have been recognized for their leadership by receiving awards on energy management as a result of the performance and the impact they were able to make. So in summary, MEMS on Predix is a proven solution that is readily available for manufacturers that have made a commitment to driving business value around energy management and who view energy as part of their operational excellence journey. Manufacturers that are keen on empowering their people and providing them with the capabilities to create an energy-aware culture and drive the right behaviors for utility management on the shop floor. So to get in touch with EY via today's webinar platform, please enter your email address using the Q&A widget at the bottom of your console, and a member from our team will contact you directly. Also on the EY MEMS Solution Showcase site via the link on the screen, you can explore video, download collateral, and read related insights and perspectives from EY thought leaders.
Thanks, Ali. So just before we head into our QA section, a reminder again to submit your question in the QA box you see on the screen. I'd just like to provide everyone with some final thoughts on how you can take that next step on your journey. And first, if you feel you have a great partnership angle and opportunity with GE, then you can apply online. You see the URL there on our partner page to join our GE Digital Alliance program. And that's a great program. It's going to arm you with the insights and skills and tools and rewards that you need in order to deliver valuable outcomes to your customers. So everything from opportunity management to market development funds and online training and so on and so forth. It's a very comprehensive and rewarding experience, so please do check that page out. And then if you're a customer and we'd like to certainly have you take your next step on your journey. The first way is just by visiting one of our state-of-the-art co-creation centers, what we call GE Digital Foundries. These were launched in 2016. And they're designed to host you and your team to define the outcomes that this transformation can drive for you. And you're obviously going to partner with our team of GE domain experts and engineers. So it's a great experience. Look us up on this webpage you see here and request a visit via our Contact Us form. The second way to take part is with our strategic digital industrial transformation blueprint service for those who want to build their own personal transformation roadmap. And finally, just remember this is the webinar. It's fourth in our series. Stay tuned for our final pillar, culture. It's on September 12th, where we're going to explore how to build that culture around rapid decision making and learning from failure. So with that, I'd like to close the formal part of the presentation and start addressing questions from our audience. I see we have a good number of questions already for both Marcus and Scott, so let's see how many we can get to in the remaining time. Our first is for Marcus. Marcus, what's the process of becoming a partner like, and what are your thoughts on GE's co-innovation model that they discussed?
Yeah, sure. Good question. The process of becoming a partner with GE Digital is it's really like becoming new friends, right? I would say that the introduction phase, it can maybe feel slightly awkward at first, right? Like anything. But once you figure out where your common interests are, then it's like you've been old friends. And the interesting thing is with that co-innovation model, it really drives the top to bottom collaboration, like I talked about. And GE Digital, again, like a good friend, works really hard to make sure that you feel good, right? And that you have the resources available to enable your success. We've had a couple of examples where, we wouldn't have been able to do some of the things that we were trying to do alone or by ourselves, and we had tried before. And GE Digital kind of came to the rescue on a couple of ways to actually enable some things that we didn't think could actually get done inside of our facilities.
That's great. Thank you, Marcus. I love that friends metaphor. I couldn't agree more with that. We actually have another question for you as well, so why don't you just stay on the line there. In your opinion, what have been some of the most beneficial aspects of GE Partners' ecosystem?
Oh, sure. That's an easy one. Scale. So everybody here on the line, right, knows that GE is a really, really big company. And so with that big company and big name, just like with us, it means that lots of people want to work with you, right? And so GE Digital has really been leveraging that name to bring people from across the globe together, as disparate as really small disruptive ISVs, all the way through some of the biggest OEM and cloud provider names that you can imagine. And so for us, being able to partner with GE with a lot of the names that either we hadn't yet partnered with before, or people that we had partnered with, but allowing us to change the conversation in a way that could then help drive a faster time to market. Those two things, scale and time to market, to me are the two biggest benefits.
Okay, that's great. Thank you, Marcus. Ali, you shared the typical cost savings on a utility bill. The question we have is, do those cost savings continue?
So this is where the power of smart monitoring and tracking for utilities in a plant environment comes into play. Ability to identify target levels as function of production quantity and activities that are happening on shop floor, whether the machine is up or down, warming up or running full speed, and using that to detect deviations, variability, and accordingly alert and notify operations makes it easier for plant operations to reduce exceptions and stay on target. Basically, exception management as opposed to constantly monitoring a screen. The key here is to entrench the tool in the day-to-day activities and make the work process business as usual. Keeping a focus on energy metrics alongside other critical production metrics and continuing to manage energy by the numbers. This is key for avoiding the famous yo-yo cycle, where you achieve some results at the end of the year. Now we focus on something else. We forget about energy. It drops down. You come a year after, it comes back up again. So that's where a system like MEMS really pays dividends, because it assists and helps operations keep an eye on target and get the alerts and notifications to manage the exceptions as they occur in near real time, and keeping those savings that have been incurred and continue to add more savings on top of that.
And another question for Ali. How does someone get started with MEMS? What's involved in that process?
So MEMS starts at the shop floor level, at the instrumentation level. The start is typically at that level of metering infrastructure by assessing the manufacturing facility in terms of where are the major consumers located, what are they, what's the nature of the process, the equipment that is involved with the heating and the cooling and the conversion of energy. And then the allocation of metering infrastructure and connectivity to around those big consumers. Also understanding the level of automation that's available and the connectivity, not only to the utility meters, but the connectivity to the production information, whether it's through the instrumentations directly or through other plant devices. Within a fairly quick review on site, typically half a day to a day, we can advise the client of the readiness of the site for a MEMS implementation. And if not ready, what are the gaps and the best ways to go about filling those gaps.
Okay, everyone, so there's no way we're going to be able to get to answer all of your questions. Please do send your questions again using the QA box shown on the screen, and we'll get back to you as quickly as we can. And so it just leaves me now just to say a big thank you to our speakers today, and of course to everyone who took the time to attend today's webinar. Thank you for your attendance, and we look forward to seeing you at our final webinar on the series, September 12th at 11 a.m. Eastern, where we'll discuss culture. Thanks, everyone, and have a great day.